Hello everyone, our topic is remembering the battles, history, myth and contemporary representation. In Kazakh culture, the word battles means a brave warrior or hero, but the figure of the battles is more than a military title. In historical memory, battles become symbols of protection, resistance and collective identity. Our project has 3 questions. How were battles represented in historical and oral sources? Why were they mythologized, and how are they represented in contemporary Kazakhstan today? We argue that battles should be understood in 3 ways at once. First, as real historical actors. Second, as heroes transformed by epic memory. And third, as modern national symbols represented in museums, monuments, and cultural policy.
First, battles were not only legendary figures. Some were real military leaders connected with major conflicts in Kazakh history, especially resistance to external enemies such as the Dzungars. For example, Bugembay and the Kabambay battles are among the best-known battles associated with the struggle of the 18th century and the defense of Kazakh lands. At the same time, the word batter meant more than one individual hero. It referred to an ideal of courage, military leadership and the protection of the community. That is why batters appear both in historical memory and in oral tradition. Some figures were closer to documented history, while others became famous mainly through epic narrative. This is important for our topic because it shows that the image of the batter had a real historical base. Later memory did not create the batter from nothing. It expanded and glorified figures who were already connected with warfare, leadership and the collective defense.
Second, the memory of battles was shaped by oral tradition. In Kazakh heroic epics such as Kobulanda Batar and Alpamys Batar, the batter is shown not simply as a fighter, but as an ideal hero who protects the people, defeats enemies, and restores justice. These epics survived in many versions through oral performance, which means they preserved cultural memory but also changed over time. This is where myth enters the topic. Myth doesn't mean just fiction. In historical analysis, myth means a meaningful heroic narrative. Scholars note that heroic epics do not only describe events, they also build values such as loyalty, bravery, sacred ancestry, and collective belonging. Because of this, the batter became larger than a historical person. He became a cultural archetype. So oral tradition didn't erase history, it transformed history into a form that people could remember, repeat, and use to identity.
Third, batters are strongly represented in contemporary Kazakhstan. Official museums and cultural institutions present them as a part of country's military heritage and patriotic memory. The State Military Historical Museum of the Armed Forces of the Republic of Kazakhstan presents military valor and historical continuity as part of national education, which helps explain why heroic warriors figures remain important today. This is important because museums don't only preserve objects, they also shape interpretation. When museums and memorial spaces present weapons, heroic portraits, reconstructions, and explanatory texts, they frame battles such as Bugembay, Kabambay, and epic heroes such as Kobulanda Batar as symbols of courage, protection, and national strength. We can also see this in public memory outside museums, for example, in monuments, memorial complexes, and cultural representation. So in modern Kazakhstan, the batter is remembered not only as a warrior from the past, but also as a public symbol used in education, heritage, and national identity.
In conclusion, our research shows that the image of the batter exists on 3 levels. First, batters had a historical foundation as warriors and defenders connected to real conflicts and leadership roles. Second, oral epics and later interpretation mythologize them, turning them into ideal heroic figures. And third, contemporary Kazakhstan continues to represent batters throughout museums, memorial sites, and public culture as symbols of patriotism and national identity. So, the answer to our topics is this. Remembering the batters is not just about preserving facts from the past. It is also about creating meaning in the present. Batters survive in memory because they connected history, myths, and modern identity. Thank you for your attention.